How does the Micah Parsons scenario, negotiation, non-negotiation, hit somebody who's been in this league and business for decades in so many different roles, including general manager? Mike, how does this hit you where you are?
A couple different ways. One, Jerry Jones has done business for a lot of years, and he made an allusion today to, buying the Dallas Cowboys on a handshake, which I understand and respect. And business was done a certain way, but I don't think you ever cut a deal with a player and say that's your deal, especially when they have representation. So, from my perspective, I think Micah Parsons has shown up and done everything he's supposed to do. He's one of the most explosive football players in this league. Um, I'm a little bit surprised by how the Cowboys have handled the negotiations or, the non-negotiations because they won't call the agent. I think it's well within Micah Parsons' purview to hold in. And at a certain point, Rich, I think you look at the comps and you look at there are a bunch of edge rusher comps. You look at the TJ Watt deal, forget all the big numbers and the 45 million average and all that. I think what's important is TJ got 3 years guaranteed, which is rare. And that's the most important number is the how long are your guarantees, followed by what is the guarantee at 108 million. So if I'm Micah Parsons, what I'm looking for is a 3-year guarantee over 108 million. A lot of the other numbers are fluff. I hope the Cowboys don't stare this thing down and say you're playing for 24 million or you're not playing. That would be a shame.
Well, that would. The shame is one way to put it. It would also be mind-boggling, right? I mean, talent over everything, money over everything. Like, let's go here. I mean, that's the Philadelphia Eagles who are raising the banner on opening night, and not just any Philadelphia Eagles team. You and I both know Roseman has built this thing to last, and he signs his guys early, right? I mean, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. We can go on and on and on and on, right? And so. You can't go into that game without Micah Parsons because you won't call the agent because a handshake agreement. That's why I just seem to believe that this has got to get done. And don't you think, Mike? It's got to get done. It will. It will.
I'm blown away by the lack of communication. I really am. The player is in camp, and they've got to be talking to the agent. I mean, it's not at this point with all the comps out there. He's 26 years old. He's one of the most dynamic and explosive defensive players in the league. We all know what the numbers got to be, plus or minus. You got to go make the deal. Now, Jerry could be sitting there and going, wait a minute, I got him for 24 this year, and I can hold on to him next year at an exponent higher than that based on a franchise tag. So I can get him for 2 years. And really, Mike is the only thing he can do is hold back services, which most players won't do because you're going to give up, 10 weeks salary at age 26 in the prime of your career because you got to report by week 11 or your contract tolls, meaning it doesn't count this year and you're right back in the same situation next year. So if the Cowboys want to be tough, they can be. But Rich, let's just open the doors of communications and get them on the field. It makes no sense to me.
Well, Mike, I mean, you've been in a position before where I'm sure you've had the hammer of a leverage, and then you've got to figure out, like, what does that mean at the end of the day, right? Like, for the greater good. I mean, have you ever been in a position like that where, like, I've got the leverage, I can swing this hammer, but showing the fact that I don't have to swing it is just as valuable as the contract I'm offering, right?
Yeah, I've been in a couple of situations where I was really happy with the way the Raiders handled it. I remember with Colton Miller, who's one of the best offensive tackles in football. He was starting to dig his heels in a little bit and talk about potentially moving on from his agent. And we proactively got it done, and I think he appreciated that. I think the locker room appreciated it. I mean, I look at Trey Hendrickson. We're talking about defensive ends. Different conversation. The guy's 30 years old, but he's averaged 14 sacks a year the last 5 years. He's had 17 and a half sacks the last 2 years. The Bengals do business a little differently, especially with defensive players. But the way they're looking at this thing, I think, Rich, and here's where I mean, like every team's different.
Right.
They're saying we have a value for this guy that we believe in. Forget all the comps. We have a value, number one. And number two is at age 30, is he really going to sit out? Nah, he won't. He'll play for the 15 million that he's under contract for this year and then can go next year. We'll stare, and the Bengals have a history of staring that battle down. I think both of them are senseless to a degree. Both players have earned a certain number. When you get to age 30, you have to take that in consideration. Just like Terry McLaurin at wideout, you have to take that number into consideration from the owner side, from management side. But man, the Micah Parsons thing just irritates me, Rich.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.